They didn't even focus, bro. What's up, nerds? So, due to popular demand, I'm gonna make a tutorial on how I color grade all my footage. And by the way, if I look really tired, I am. I just woke up from the longest nap I've ever taken. It was great though. So today we're gonna be using this clip, a Lamborghini Huracan. Yeah, so this is how I color grade. So usually I shoot with the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 in D-Log M. So I shoot in 24 FPS, 158 shutter, and I keep my ISO on auto. So this is the shot. We're gonna go to the beginning of the shot. I usually color grade the shot from the first frame. If the first frame doesn't look like, or if the first frame is like a whip pan, or the first like couple frames of the whole shot are not what the main shot is gonna look like, then I just go to the main shot. Like, let's just say he was going under a bridge, and he's under the bridge for the first like half a second, but then the second, he leaves not under the bridge. Then I use that frame because it makes more sense, because you want to see what the car looks like after it leaves the bridge, not when it's in the dark. But I usually start off with just making 6 nodes just to play around with. Also, by the way, by no means am I a professional color grader at all. There's probably not gonna be that many people watching this video, but if somehow a professional color grader sees this video, okay, they're gonna actually like get their computer and throw it off the balcony, because the way I set up the nodes and what I do to each node is so unnecessary. Like, I do not need to be doing all that. So I make 6 nodes and I go to the second node. I always leave the first node untouched, just so if after I finish everything, I can come back to it and mess around with it in the first part. So I don't do any of the fancy color, I don't even know what it's called, like color transform or whatever on the side. I don't do any of that. I just go here to the curves and I bring down. I also eyeball a lot of this, but I do look at the parade on the side and just check to see if nothing's really clipping too much or too little, etc. But besides that, I just look at the shot, and if I like it, I like it. I just bring the shadows in and then the highlights and then bring it up a little bit. So do that, and then I go to the third node. This is where all of you guys are gonna be screaming, all the color people, blah, blah, blah. Oh, he didn't do it properly, shut up. I usually make 4 dots, no, 1, 2, 4 dots. Instead of making like the 3S curve, I kind of do something like this. Okay, the dots aren't even, that's besides the point. And then I bring the shadows down a little bit, this down a little bit, and it's still an S curve. It's just the S curve is between 4 dots and not 3 dots. And for some reason, I don't know if I'm like placeboing myself, but the way it looks, I like it better, just like a little bit better. Maybe I'm just going crazy and it actually doesn't look better, but boom, now we got contrast. And then sometimes I make a 5th dot in the bottom here, and I bring up the shadows for a little bit of fade, just a little bit of fade. I do this a lot for full daytime shots, but this is kind of cloudy, so I'm just gonna do a little bit. Then I go to the primaries and I add a little bit more contrast, just a little bit, and then I add saturation, a good amount, from 50 to 58. I don't know if you would say that's a lot or not, but oh well. So then that's it for this node. Then I go to the 4th node, and then I still stay on the primaries, but I go and mess around with the lift, gamma, gain. And what I always do, this is literally what I do all the time. I've literally never changed it, even for my short films on this page. Every shot, every single freaking time I've color graded, I've done this exact same thing. Watch. So I get the gain, and I push it towards orange, okay? I get the gamma, push it towards orange, just a little bit more. Just kind of eyeballing it. We're not really following the parade or the colors properly. We're just kind of eyeballing it. And then we go to lift, push it towards blue. Oh my God, it's actually crazy. This might be a little too much. Boom, now we got the color grade. So that's it for watching. No, I'm kidding. So I go to 5, and this is kind of where all the magic happens. It's not supposed to be used like this, the HDR tab, but this is the way I use it, and I love the way it looks, and other people like the way it looks. So I'm not complaining. This is what I do. So I don't touch dark or shadow for this tab, because honestly, it just looks like crap. But I go to the light, this far one right here, and I get it, and I push it towards, I don't know, whatever color I want. So that, boom. I know you guys are gonna say, oh, but why don't you just do the HDR in the 4th node instead of the 5th node? Bro, shut up. So then I go to the 6th node, and this is kind of where all the muddiness kind of gets cleaned up. So obviously, if you can see it, it just kind of looks a little faded, looks a little, even though there's a lot of color, there's not a lot of contrast. It just kind of looks muddy. I don't know how to explain it. It looks muddy. So what I do is in the curves tab, I go to Luma versus Sat, and then I'll usually do this to both sides where I bring down the shadows and the lights. But in this case, I kind of want most of the color to be there in the highlights. Like, look, if I decrease it, if you look at the highlights, I mean, that's a major difference. And I want the color to be there. Like, sometimes I'll actually even bring the color on the highlights up just so there's more saturation in it. But it's a very specific scenario where you'd want to use that. So the main point of this node is we get the shadows and plummet it. You might not be able to tell a big difference, but as you can see, it kind of removes that weird fade that's there. It's just this weird fade that's kind of lingering in, and it looks a little weird. I don't know. I just don't like the way it looks, right? I'll go in and sometimes I'll like add more contrast in the 3rd node. Sometimes what I'll even do is in between the HDR node and the final node, I'll make a mask actually. So I'll make a mask. Like, let's just say I want more saturation than just the highlights. I'll get a mask and then I'll just bring the saturation up. If I want like the sky more saturated, or if I just want it to look more punchy, you know what I mean? And then obviously, if I want more blue for the shadows or something, I'll just go back to the 4th node, which is where we did the primaries, and I'll just put a little more blue in there, like a little bit. Okay, that's a little too much. I'll just put a little bit more. Like, that's perfect right there. For some shots, what I'll do is, if I don't like the way the headlights look orange, like this looks sick. Like, the headlights are not orange in real life, they're white. I think this looks sick, so I would keep it. But what I do sometimes is I'll go and get a mask and I'll just put it over this, and I'll just desaturate that, and you'll have white headlights again. So that's not really an issue. This is the same process I use for every shot, pretty much when I first started making reels on Instagram to now. This is the exact same thing I use. Obviously, sometimes with the HDR specifically, I think that's the one that makes the biggest difference. I sometimes tone it down, and sometimes I won't even do orange. I'll do blue. It just kind of depends on what vibe you're going for the video, and also what you want the shot to look like. Because if I get this color grade and put it on a harsh daylight shot where there's it's not even close to sunset. Here it's close to sunset. If I put on a shot that's not even close to sunset, it's high noon, it's sunny, no clouds, it's gonna look absolute shit. It's gonna look horrible. But yeah, so that's the tutorial. If you guys want more tutorials on other scenarios, as in how I color grade exactly with super harsh daylight or nighttime. Oh, and then for this shot in the reel, I didn't add it, but a lot of times I add camera shake as well. So if you guys want a camera shake video, you can just drop it in the comments. I don't even know if there's gonna be enough people to watch to drop in the comments, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, hopefully that answers some of your guys' questions that you had with how I color grade. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Obviously, I have to say that. It's a YouTube video. I have to say that. Yep. Peace out.